front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them, Ted, down to you. Yeah, well, 7 for Hamilton, 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. Nice one, Ripley, not too shabby.
In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them, Ted, down to you. Yeah, well, 7 for Hamilton, 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. Nice one, Ripley, not too shabby.
In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
The top three here, Hamilton, Vettel, Verstappen, 13 world championships between them. Count them, Ted, down to you. Yeah, well, 7 for Hamilton, 4 for Vettel, 2 for Verstappen, 13, that makes 13. Nice one, Ripley, not too shabby.
In a few moments' time, we have the green flag, and in front of a capacity crowd, 5 lights are on. It's lights out, away we go. Verstappen does get away well.
Hello all and welcome into WHF Tier 1 Round 3. You're joined by me, WHF out 4. As we head to Bahrain here in Sakir. The third iteration of Tier 1 this evening. and it's going to be a fun one. Currently, Cookie leads the championship. 2 wins on the bounce for Cookie. But can anyone stop him today with the returning drivers of Top Gun and Nasev, 2 former challengers of Cookie, who I'm sure will give Cookie a hard time in this one. Also the likes of JG, that's Gordon down in P13 currently, and Rio Harris, another couple of quick drivers who could challenge Cookie today here in Bahrain, along with Seth in the Williams. Bahrain, a very iconic circuit at this point, started the season for many championships in F1 and many championships in WHF, but for the first time WHF heads to Bahrain here in round 3, not the season opener this time, and we will see what the drivers can do here in the Sakir circuit of Sloskarn. Tier 2 driver, 2 poles this season in Tier 2. What can he do in Tier 1 on his Tier 1 debut? As heads through the middle sector, up the hill he goes. And now, out of turn 10 into turn 11, turns left up the hill, 4th gear, up the gears he goes, around the flat right-hander into 7th, and down to 4th gear, as Sloskarn now on the charge around this circuit. Just has one more corner to do it, and that is 15 turns of the Bahrain circuit. And up to the line Sloskarn goes, and it is a 28.7 is the current banker. As Nasev out there starting a lap, as Ollie will be the next driver around to complete a lap. It's a 28.64 hundredths quicker than Sloskarn, as Ty Clear crosses the line. May even give a little bit of a toe to Liam, as Liam gets a 28.3. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham to P5. Gordon with a 28.2 currently is the time to beat. Michael Louis just short of Gordon's time, his first race of the season, as Franz Hermann up to P4 in his second race of the season. Meanwhile, Seth on a flyer, as we see also the Red Bulls coming around of Mallard and Cookie. It'll be Cookie first around here. Currently, the 5-time champion is won every race so far and has improved to a second ahead of Gordon, as Mallard goes up to P6. Can anyone challenge, as Rio Harris, the next across the line, goes into the 27s along with Cookie, as Seth up to P2. Next around here, it should be the Sauber of Womax, but he's into the box, as Nasev next around. We've also got Top Gun yet to settle up as well. But a very quick field out there, but Cookie currently has the hand ahead of everyone, but Nasev, very quick driver last season, and Nasev goes quickest with a 27.1. Nasev, multiple wins last season. I believe it was 4 wins for Nasev, if I'm not mistaken. And we're seeing the pace that Nasev always had in hand. Just unable to race as often with work now, but Nasev always has the pace to challenge. And here he is, a 10th ahead of Cookie, currently the championship leader. But now that we've mentioned it, let me have a quick look at how many wins last season that Nasev got. If we double check, it was 3 wins. 3 wins from Nasev. They all came in Hungary, Monza and Brazil. So Nasev looking to add another win to his WHF tally. But who else is on a lap there? Don't really think anyone is on a lap at the moment. Liam says it's a 2-stop at least. I can't actually remember. Can you one-stop in Bahrain? I feel like you can one-stop in Bahrain. I feel like it's something that someone's going to try. We will have to wait and see. But as it stands here, 17 drivers here this evening. And who can go quickest today? Currently, Nasev and Cookie seem to be a bit of a distance ahead of everyone else. Can anyone else challenge as it stands? As we have, I believe, Jimmy Dwyer on a flyer, but he's just out on the mediums. He's getting some practice laps in. As Michael Louis going slow. Rio Harris might be on a push. Let's double check with Rio. Rio, a tenth to the good, could get ahead of Seth, but can he find any extra time in the final sector as he charges up to turn 11? Where can the Mercedes driver go? Currently missing his teammate today, his teammate Telemetry. One of the tier 2 challengers of last season, as Rio makes a big error up the hill at turn 12. But yeah, Rio's teammate Telemetry actually had his PlayStation blow up, so we won't see Telemetry until next week. Apparently his new PlayStation's arriving next or tomorrow on Monday. So we're gonna have to wait for that to happen. But get your predictions in the chat for everyone who's here. Liam in the chat says he's saving a soft just in case. I do think that it is a one-stop on this game still. I do think it still is a one-stop, although it is there is several one-stops on this game where it is you really have to manage, and I think Bahrain is one of those where you really have to manage, but it's still a one-stop. But anyway, Womack's next driver around on a lap in that lovely new Cyber livery. Don't know if any of you have seen it yet, but I'm trying to remember what track. It might have been Monza they used this livery, I'm not quite sure. But Womack's out there on that lovely Cyber livery. Lovely to see it being used. Top Gun doesn't have it on his car, but Womack's does, so 2 drivers with 2 different liveries. But we'll see what Womack's can do on this flying lap here. Both Cyber drivers yet to set a lap in this session so far, as it seems Womack's been showing us a little bit of desync. His car really jumping around the road, which hopefully in the race it's not as bad. Liam says he's aiming for P5, and currently as it stands he's P7, and within a tenth of Gordon as Cookie goes even quicker with the 27-0, laying the gauntlet for Nesev to go even faster, as Womack's now rounding the final corner and up to the line. Where can Womack's go? As he jumps all the way up to P5 with a 27.9. Lovely lap time from Womack's as he crosses the line and gets inside that top 5, just a tenth away from Rio Harris. Meanwhile, Top Gun around on his first race of the season here in WHF. He's not really raced here since SSR Season 6, where we've seen him challenge Cookie as he goes up to P4 on his first lap. Top Gun still has some pace in his car, as he's only 8 tenths off Cookie, who's been still racing pretty much flat out since Top Gun left. Meanwhile, Franz Hermann next around in the V-Carb and up to P7. As Gordon rounding the final corner. Or was that the final corner? No, it was the second corner. My mistake. Or turn 1. Who else is on a lap though? We've got one of the Ferraris, I believe, is Stephen Beecham on an outlap. Hemi Dime's missing the race today. I wonder if Nasev on a push. Doesn't sound like he's pushing that engine too hard. As Rio also on an outlap. Mallard might be on a push, right, as he heads through Sector 1, but I think it's a V-Carb, maybe a Sluss car in behind. But it could be Gordon next round. Gordon currently P8. His teammate Ty Clare, wonders he on a push. Does seem like it. Tier 2 champion last season, and Ty Clare now on the charge to the line. And where can Ty go? As Ty up to the line and goes to P10. Meanwhile, Seth on a flyer as well. Another one of the challengers here for this evening. This evening's pole position, but he is a good 7/10 off Cookie. 7/10 is not an easy gap to find here in Bahrain. Seth, a very quick driver here in the Williams, made his WHF debut in round 1 this season and is clearly one of the challengers. Zampa says couldn't make it as a reserve. I mean, I can invite you once Seth comes across the line. But as Seth does improve by a 10th. But Zampa, I'll send you an invite if you can. If you cannot, that's okay. Not the end of the world. As Rio pulling off the track, Gordon getting a little bit of a toe. Michael Louis seems to be out on a flyer. As Stephen Beecham up to P10 now. Good improvement there from Stephen. Just gets ahead of his championship rival and his teammate from last season. These two always so close in pace. And in this season, that battle between those two has continued on, despite them moving up to Tier 1 and are now in different teams. But who else is on a flyer right now? I can't quite tell. Feel like everyone waiting for their final runs. No one actually on a push lap just yet. Jimmy Dwyer might be next around. As I believe Michael Louis on his debut this season might be coming into the box. So it'll be Jimmy Dwyer in the Alpine. And into turn 1 he comes. And Jimmy Dwyer currently 3 seconds off the pace, but now has the soft tyres fitted on. Can he close to the rear of Thory, who is a good half a second off Sluskarn down in P15. Big gaps towards the end of the field. But can he go any quicker? We've also got Cookie on a lap, I believe. I didn't actually notice that. Cookie flying his way through Sector 2. And oh my lord, he's up by half a second. Exiting Sector 2. There's just no way. There's just no way he's up by that much. Already sitting on pole and may be able to find some extra time, as he found some freedom on the track now, and the current championship leader going to extend his gap with a 26.3. Oh my gosh. Oh my lord. Can anyone touch that lap time? I've no idea. Jimmy Dwyer up by half a second. Needs a whole lot more than that if he wants to touch Thory's time of a 29.0. But Cookie absolutely levels above everyone else at the moment. It seems like only Nasev could challenge him here. As Jimmy Dwyer now up to the line, improves by half a second, but still nowhere near getting close to anyone. Next it'll be Sluskarn round, followed by Top Gun. But can anyone even get inside the 26s? Never mind. A 26.3 from Cookie. Seems to be an absolute level above everyone else. Meanwhile, Sluskarn improving by 3/10. If he can improve that a little bit more, he can get ahead of his teammate for this evening, Franz Herman, who currently is a 28.1. If Sluskarn could get to the lower end, we will have to wait and see. As TJ in the chat cheering on his teammate of Rio Harris, currently sitting P5. Sluskarn just shy of Franz Herman, 200s back from his teammate, and Sluskarn will start the race at best in P9. Meanwhile, Top Gun is invalid. May have enough fuel to go again, as Franz Herman now on a lap in P8. But Cookie has retired for today. Believes he's done enough as Ty Clear will start a lap. I think Franz Hermann may be the next driver around on a lap, currently with a 28.1. And encountering some traffic is Franz Hermann. As the Haas, just about gets out of his way of Thori. Or that might even been Lewis. As Franz may have been a little bit distracted. Star in the chat says, I've done a 0.6 on a perfect lap. That is an insane time. And yeah, a 26.3. I can't even remember what my Bahrain time was last season. It might even it was definitely at best the 27. I'm now interested to see what the lap times were of Tier 1 last season. I'm actually going to have a quick look through if I can find it. Top Gun retires, no improvement from the Saubers. Franz Hermann goes up to P8, although he'll stay P8, does improve his time though. Who's next around on a lap? It could be Ollie starting a lap, as Mallard going to start a lap in behind him. Stephen Beecham as well. The Mercedes of either Rio Harris or Nasev starting a lap, is Seth in behind also. But who's next around actually on a lap? It might be Ty Clear. Attempt to the good is Ty Clear. And can he find an improvement here? As I have a quick look through Tier 1 lap times. As Ty goes to P10. We've got Rio Harris up to P3. As next around is going to be Jimmy Dwyer. Does improve, but not enough to get position. Womack's now up by a 10th. Could get ahead of his teammate here for one of Womack's best qualifyings of the season. Does improve, but not by enough to get ahead of his teammate. Gordon next round, a 10th to the good. Even almost 2/10 to the good. Gordon could get up as high as P5 here. If he can jump Omax and Top Gun, as Gordon now rounding the final corner. And where can Gordon go? As Gordon up to the line now, does go P5. Next it is Liam across the line with a 112. Michael Lee up to P9. It's Franz Hermann, I believe, on an in-lap. Doesn't improve. Ollie next around, currently P14. Where's he going to go? Up to P9 goes Ollie. Mallard next across the line. Mallard up to P14. Stephen Beecham doesn't improve. The Mercedes of Nasev is the driver to watch. Does sneak into the 26s as Seth crosses the line. And where does Seth go? Gonna have to wait and see. But for those of you wondering, Tier 1 last season's pole was a 26.403. So Cookie has bested pole from last season, although pole from last season was Neil Guillot. Cookie's time last season was a 26.8. He's now improved to a 26.3. So big improvement there. As Star mentioned, he's got a 26.9. Rio Harris actually goes 4/10 slower than last season. As I look, I would have been P12. I got a 28.150. So my lap on pad would have been P12, so I think it's a good thing I moved the wheel, because even on pad my pace was not good enough. But let me tell the drivers when to ready up now. Hopefully no one's ready up early. But we'll get your predictions to chat. Who do you think's going to win this one? Currently Cookie with a massive lap here. And as we wait for the 5 red lights, get your predictions in the chat. Who do you think's going to win? It could be Liam in the chat says, I severely overestimated my skills around the track. Rio says, could have easily gotten P3 but bottled Sector 1 so hard. Star says it'd happen if there was time, but unfortunately did not let me know because I didn't invite him. Echo, yes, I am racing, but I am tier 2 now because I have moved to wheel. So I am very slow. Not only am I tier 2, but I probably should be tier 3 at this point. As we will see what the drivers can do in the session. As Rio mentions, he got his maiden podium in Bahrain last season. And hoping for another podium this season as well here in Bahrain. But Nasev currently P2. As his teammate Rio for this evening, I believe qualifying P3. But Echo, if you ever do want to come back, you're always welcome. You know where the Discord is. It's in the bio. And we now have 3 tiers here in WHF. Lovely to see how great the league has grown. And here in tier 1, still competitive as ever. And Cookie, looking for his 6th title here in WHF, currently leads the championship after winning the first 2 rounds. Can anyone stop him this season? We'll have to wait and see. Here in tier 1. I wonder when will Cookie stop? Will he win after his 7th? Will he stop after his 8th? We'll have to wait and see. But Cookie looks to be on track for his 6th title, unless one of the drivers out there has anything to say. On pole by over half a second ahead of Nasev and Rio Harris. Actually, I actually didn't see if Seth got P3 or P2 there, but we'll have to wait and see whenever the 5 red lights come on, as the driver should be readying up now, and that'll give us a good indicator. I have a Mazda R12 with a KS wheel, and I suck, to be honest. So I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board to try and improve. But anyway, enough about my wheel and more on about the drivers. Is welcome in Aaron, tier 2 driver. Welcome in to the stream as we're here getting ready for round 3 in Bahrain. As we will have the 5 red lights on. And they're out after a long wait. Nasev gets a great start down into turn 1. And Nasev straight off into the lead. And we've certainly not missed this season. Is Cookie going to try and pick round the outside of Nasev? Side by side they go through turn 1 and 2. And Cookie trying to get back through again as he crunches Nasev off the track. Is Seth going to try and get through on the outside? Is Cookie pushing Seth to the outside? As Nasev dives it back through again. And Cookie still battling with Nasev. Rio Harris involved here as well. Side by side he goes with Cookie as Nasev is around. Both V-Carbs around. Big crash with the V-Carb driver. Sluscorn down and around as Rio back up into P2 with Seth involved here as well. And Seth back into P2 here. And Nasev down to P5, but the stewards will definitely have a look at what happened there with Cookie maintaining the lead. Mallard down the inside of Seth, on the inside of Stephen as Ty Clear. Also on the outside of Stephen Beecham. Stephen carrying some damage in the Ferrari as he's a little bit of contact with the Aston Martin driver. As Stephen going to try and hold on to this position. Ty going to try and get back through again on the Ferrari as they charge down to the final corner. It's a drag race between the 2 tier 2 rivals from last season. As Cookie now sets the fastest lap of the race, but will he see a potential penalty? As into the pit lane comes a number of drivers here. Ollie, I think, or it might have been even Michael Louis trying to avoid Stephen Beecham there. As Gordon battling with Rio Harris side by side. They go through turns 3 and 4 in contact between Gordon and Rio. And they just about survived. Nasev getting through on Gordon now, looking down the inside of Rio Harris, and Nasev up into P3, and he's going to look to recover. As Gordon also battling with Rio, possibly not happy with the room he was left by the Mercedes driver. It's been an absolutely chaotic start to Tier 1 here. So much bumping and barging. I'm sure the stewards are going to be busy again after this one. But here on lap 2, already some gaps formed. Cookie pulling an early gap here ahead of the drivers in behind. As Womack's now ahead of Franz Hermann. Or in behind Franz Hermann, sorry. As Franz trying to get touch with Gordon yet again here. As Michael Louis and Jimmy Dwyer side by side they go. And Michael gets ahead of Jimmy. Not the ideal start for Michael Louis. A couple of drivers into the box already. Thory, Top Gun, Stephen and Sluskard already in for early pit stops as Mallard's got ahead of Ollie. As Ollie gonna try and get back through. Meanwhile, as we head up to P7, Cookie sets the fastest lap again. As Nasev now going to try and make his way past Seth. Seth goes defensive to the inside. Nasev going to pick the outside on the Williams driver. As Seth on the inside, Nasev had to get out of the throttle, had to turn out of the corner to make sure he didn't turn in on the Williams driver. But Nasev now up into P2. And has reclaimed that P2 now. And is going to try and head after Cookie now, who started on the soft tyres. Meanwhile, Womack did get ahead of Franz Hermann, but a little bit of contact between Franz and Womack. As Womack's going to keep this position, but that desync you can already see is playing a big factor here. As Liam now on the rear of Franz, trying to find a way back through again. Meanwhile, Gordon on the rear of Rio Harris. As Ollie gets ahead of Liam, side by side they go down to turn 11. Liam still on the inside of Ollie as Mallard watching this battle along, going to try and get involved, but made a little error, opened the door to Ty Clear. As Ollie still trying to get back ahead of Liam. Down the hill we go, but nothing doing there. Maybe Ollie with some DRS can make the move happen. Meanwhile, Cookie's still extending his lead over Nasev. Nasev going to try and use these medium tyres to catch Cookie, but we'll have to wait and see as time progresses. Ollie now trying to maximise his exit to the final corner. Liam's got a shoddy exit, and that's opened the door now for both Mallard and Ollie to potentially go either side of Liam down into turn 1. Both of them get through, and Ty Clear may even look down the inside, and he does. But has he got too late in the brakes? Very late in the brakes does Ty, but just about keeps away from the rear of Mallard. Mallard almost collected there, but just about survives. Meanwhile, Womack still battling with Franz Hermann here. And still dealing with that desync, we can see. Franz still up in P6 here. As Mallard going to try catch Ollie back again. Mallard makes a little mistake in the middle sector. Inviting pressure from Ty Clear now. As Womack's all over the rear of Franz Hermann. Is he close enough to be going for a move? But this desync not helping the Sauber driver as we stand. Meanwhile, Top Gun getting ahead of Thory. As Top Gun actually carrying some damage here. Left end plate gone on that Sauber as he's gone for the medium tyres. I wonder, was that pit stop a bit of a waste of time because he didn't actually get his front wing fixed like he intended? As Ollie now almost dropping Mallard out of DRS. Liam on the rear of Ty Clear. Gonna try and look for a move through turn 13, but nothing doing there. Needs to look for another opportunity. As Cookie now has the lead at 4 seconds ahead of Nasev. As Lewis now, aka Liam, on the rear of Ty. Mallard going to use the DRS to try and close back up to the rear of Ollie again. Ollie trying to catch ahead as Gordon now on the rear of Rio Harris. Did Rio Harris go deep though? Did he get any contact with the car ahead? Potentially. As Womack's now going to get ahead of Franz Hermann. As a little bit of desync again there as Ollie stays ahead. Meanwhile, Gordon on the outside of Rio Harris, side by side they go through turn 4. Gordon still there, Rio pushing him off the track. These two are feisty. As Gordon around the outside, Rio pushing him off the track. Gordon has to play it calm. They've lost DRS to the cars ahead here as Top Gun comes in now. I wonder, did he get any contact with Thory potentially? Which may have cost him some wing level. As Gordon now back on the rear of Rio Harris, trying to get through on the Mercedes driver, but both of them lost touch of Seth, who's now trying to hold on to the rear of Nasev. Nasev now finding pace on those medium tyres. Nasev going to try and catch Cookie in a matter of laps, but will Cookie potentially face a penalty from the stewards? after that lap 1 opening contact? We'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, a lot of battles continuing on in the background. Ollie, the first driver to pick up a penalty here, which is quite unlike Ollie to pick up a penalty this early on. Now he's Mallard for company, who has been putting pressure on the McLaren driver. And Ty and Liam as well, still keeping Ollie keen. A reminder that points go down to P16 here in WHF as Gordon finally gets through and Rio Hospital goes very deep, opens the door again to Rio through turn 2 and 3, and more contact between the Mercedes and the Aston Martin as they're barging wheels as they're going to head through turn 4. A lot of contact between Rio and Gordon, as I'm sure the stewards going to be very busy after this one. A lot of drivers just not leaving any space for each other at all. And I'm sure a lot of drivers are going to have words for each other after this one. As Stephen actually gets through on Thory. Stephen now into P14. Thory was very deep and actually carrying some damage. I wonder, did Thory get damage after potential contact with Top Gun? We missed what happened there down the field, as Rio now outside of DRS range from Gordon, as Seth on the rear of Nasev. Meanwhile, if we go down the order, we see Ty under pressure again from Liam. Liam stuck in this DRS train, however, and struggling to find a way ahead as Cookie in already. Potentially onto hards, as he's gone mediums actually. A 2-stop potential for Cookie. Unless he can extend the mediums very far, we will have to wait and see. But maybe Cookie giving himself a little bit of a challenge, as Franz Herman now on the outside of Womack, trying to find a way through in the Cyber. As these two been battling throughout. Ty Clear losing out to Liam into turn 1. We missed that move as Liam does get through up into P9, but Ty now back on the rear of Liam. And Liam carrying no DRS is Mallard on the inside of Ollie. And Mallard getting through and into P7. Carrying the Red Bull team is Mallard, currently leading the Red Bull pair, and we always knew that Mallard was the quicker of the two Red Bull drivers, as Thory now in for another pit stop, as Cookie down in P12, as Ollie now on the rear of Mallard, trying to get back through again on the Red Bull. But interesting to see. Oh, big spin from Liam! Oh my lord! Hold on to it, Liam. In the background, Liam just about surviving. Ty Clear gets back up into P9 as he's going to try and latch onto the rear of Ollie up ahead. But Liam with a big mistake there out of turn 10. Just his car was loosey-goosey all throughout the exit there. As Seth now following the save. These two possibly going to go to lap 12, lap 13, even as late as lap 14 before they box for their hard strategy. Meanwhile, it seems like Cookie is looking for the potential 2-stop, maybe a soft, medium, medium, soft, medium, soft, medium, hard. Not quite sure what Cookie's going for today. He's going for definitely a different strategy than we expected. I doubt he's going to do soft, medium to the end. That would be a hilarious stint if he could pull it off, but we'll see Cookie try and pull off the 2-stop if that is what he's trying. Maybe Cookie potentially selected the wrong tyre before the start of the race, not quite sure. Which, if he did, that has left him in the lurch. And a track that I would say on previous games definitely a 1-stop. On this game, I do believe it is a 1-stop. As Seth and the save still battling over the lead here as Nasev trying to drop Nasev trying to drop Seth out of DRS range. But Seth, does he have the battery to use to get back inside DRS range? Seems like Nasev might be pulling the gap now, and Seth lost DRS from the Mercedes driver. Seth gonna pull the pin early. here on lap 9. And if he was going to one stop, I would say that's very early onto the hards, but is doable. Definitely is doable. But if I were him, I would have left it at least 3 more laps. But maybe Seth's struggling with some tyre wear this early on. A lot of the medium owners now onto the hards here on lap 9, struggling this early. It's a bit surprising, to be honest, how many of them have come into the box this early. As Seth now exiting in P7, maybe trying to pull the undercut on Seb, as Mallard going to exit ahead of Ollie, and Liam, who pulled the undercut on potentially all 3 of these drivers. Ty defending into turn 1, and Ty gets the overcut on Liam, and Liam's lap older hards aren't going to help him here just yet. Maybe if he can get a good exit, but he hasn't got the best of exits, and will have to stay in behind Ty clear. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham yet again has had another tumultuous race. He's out of sync with a lot of the drivers after more contact in the midfield, along with Top Gun, Sluskarn and Thori as well. And a lot of drivers out there, especially the bottom 4, would be praying for a safety car now. I'm pretty sure Nasev, Gordon, Rio, Franz Herman and Michael Louis would be absolutely delighted with a safety car, because that could help them get onto their one stop if that is what they're trying to do. Meanwhile, Rio trying to get back inside DRS range from Gordon. And these two have been feisty throughout this race. I'm sure the stewards going to be busy after this one, after their feisty encounters as well. Max now on the rear of Jimmy Dwyer. And, oh, big contact with Jimmy, as Jimmy made a little mistake there out of turn 13. And Womack's just about surviving after contact with the driver of Jimmy Dwyer, who's out of sync, as Michael Louis coming in now off the medium tyres, and Michael going for hards as well. But I'm surprised how early a lot of drivers are coming for mediums. I think Cookie definitely doing the 2-stop. How effective that will be, we'll have to wait and see. As Seth coming very early off the mediums. He's going to have to nurse those hards to the very end. As Cookie on the rear of Franz Herman now. And Franz Herman is not going to give Cookie any bother. And Franz also wants to pick up a little bit of DRS as he gets a bad exit out of turn 10. That dirty air not helping Franz, but this little bit of DRS could help Franz in his race if he can help extend the medium tyres. As Franz Herman now lost DRS from Cookie. As Cookie on his own strategy. Ollie there. Him and Thori, the only drivers out there with penalties at the moment. And Ollie would be the first to be disappointed with picking up such an early penalty. That could hurt him by the end here, but they have pulled the gap now to Ty and Liam, which should help Mallard and Ollie check off down the road. But we yet to see many of the medium runners box now, and I think they will extend to lap 12 or even 13 before coming in for their hards, and they'll be definitely one stopping here. But is that quicker? Is the one stop quicker than the 2-stop? We'll have to wait and see. As Cookie now on the rear of Rio Harris. Does he have DRS though? Not just yet, but it might be a slam dunk pass. Cookie with a much fresher medium tyres, and might be able to find some extra grip than Rio on a flyer now, as Rio goes very wide out of turn 13, and Cookie now possibly just charging the battery to use down the main straight to get ahead of Rio Harris. But I remember in Japan, Rio was no happy camper. He does not let Cookie easily pass, but Rio and Gordon now both into the box as we start lap 12. So Cookie actually had a much easier time than he did in Japan in passing Rio Harris. And now it's a case of, is Cookie's strategy quicker than Nasev's. Nasev out here on this one stop, and will be boxing possibly this lap or the next one, maybe even as late as lap 14 before going onto the hard tyres. Meanwhile, Cookie definitely has another stop in him. I would reckon it's medium tyres. TJ in the chat says, I think one stop is quicker. And I guess we'll have to wait and see, as Womack's now actually battling with Gordon. Womack's on the outside of Gordon, and Gordon leaving the box there on the fresh hard tyres. And down the inside of Womack, side by side they go. A little bit of contact between the Sauber and the Aston Martin driver. It's a drag race out of turn 4, and Gordon gets ahead on the fresh hard tyres. And he needed to do that because Womack's now on these mediums is a bit out of sync, I'd have to say. I don't know if Womack's mediums are going to go to the end. I don't think they will. So Womack's is going to need a box again, but he will have some pace to use currently. I don't think Gordon wants to fight too much with it, because he doesn't want Rio Harris back involved here again, because he already gave him a little bit of a headache earlier on. Meanwhile, Franz Hermann has exited behind Ollie and Mallard. And what can Franz do as Nasev now pulls the pin onto the hard tyres? No safety car has really benefited anyone just yet in this one. Nasev, the only driver yet to box in the race. That's now changed. And Nasev now, will he exit ahead of Seth despite doing a much longer overcut? We'll have to wait and see. Seth now down into turn 1. Seth has pulled off the undercut and will get ahead of Nasev, but Nasev on much better tyres here. We'll see what he can do as Womack gets out of Gordon into turn 1. Meanwhile, Franz Hermann may look for the move on Ollie into turn 1. Ollie defending there. Franz unable to really go for a send. Would have been a very diabolical send there. Meanwhile, up at the front, Nasev 1.5 behind Seth, has the 4 laps fresher hard, so he thinks Nasev should be able to catch the Williams by the end of this run. But will Nasev's strategy be quicker than Cookie's? That is yet to be seen. Cookie has a 16-second gap, so if Cookie can extend, it'll be very interesting by the end of the race here. Franz Hermann putting the pressure on Ollie, as Ollie may have to put the pressure on Mallard as well. Gordon still in behind Womack. Possibly these two going to try and train each other along. It's going to allow Rio Harris to potentially get inside DRS range here, as Ollie and Mallard potentially going to swap, as Ollie with a risky move into turn 1. That was... oh, what was he doing there? That was scary. As Ollie with a very late dive on the inside of Mallard, as these two bang wheels together, and it may allow Franz Hermann both through on both of them, as Franz on the inside of Ollie going to get through. Mallard going to defend the inside. A little bit of contact between Mallard as Ollie round the outside again. These two still side by side. Mallard going to keep it ahead of Franz Hermann, as Franz has to filter in behind Mallard now, but does get ahead of Ollie. But a lot of bumping and barging throughout this Bahrain Grand Prix. And it has been a very touchy race. So much contact. The stewards are going to have one of the busiest races of the seasons after this one. Just so much contact between so many of the drivers. As Franz now on the rear of Mallard. And up to turn 11. Can Franz get on the inside of the Red Bull? Has the fresher tyres. Franz dives later than the Mallard. As Mallard going to look for the switchback though, as we head through turn 12. And Franz finally going to secure that move, surely, as Mallard has to back out with Ollie involved. Meanwhile, Nasev on the rear of Seth. Seth going to try and push him to the inside wall, but Nasev makes the move too early on, and unable to do much is Seth in defence. Meanwhile, Mallard on the rear of Franz Hermann again. Franz was able to get ahead with the fresher tyres, but now Mallard with DRS may get stripped back ahead of the V-curve, And he does just that, as Ollie may even look for a late send on Franz Hermann. But no move there, as Franz going to try and get back through on Mallard. And going to try and make the move as Mallard losing the rear, and a 3-second penalty for Franz Hermann after a little bit of a mistake from Mallard, as Franz now going to try and dive it through at turn 4, and dives later than the Red Bull, but the Red Bull with a lovely switchback potentially on the cards, and Mallard with one of the moves of the season. What a switchback! And Franz Hermann's going to need a new pair of socks after that move. What an absolute switchback there. Mallard made the mistake out of turn 3, but definitely... Oh, and Franz Hermann dives on the inside of turn 10. Mallard with another switchback. Oh my god! Oh, he's gonna need new socks again. Oh, how many pairs of socks do you need, Franz Hermann, as Mallard has been consistently switchbacking him? He's not gonna do it again, surely. As we head up through turn 12, and finally Franz makes the move work. But Mallard has been pulling Franz pants down throughout this battle, as Cookie comes in for his final pit stop. Cookie onto the hard tyres until the end here. Where does Cookie exit the box? We'll have to wait and see, as Mallard now back on the rear of Franz Hermann again, and losing the rear as he tries to get the power planted. Cookie now up in P3 though, and he's got a decent little bit of clean air to use, as Mallard on the outside of Franz Hermann. Ollie switches to the inside as Franz going to go defensive, and Franz just about holding on to that position. These three have been battling absolutely ferociously. Mallard going to push Franz to the inside, as Franz now round the outside of Mallard. Side by side they go, bit of contact. Ollie trying to get involved here, but these three have been absolutely battling. The battle has been absolutely beautiful to watch. Mallard defending again, Ollie too far back. This has allowed Ty, Claire and Liam to get back up into the battle. I'm sure for Franz Hermann very frustrated getting caught behind in this battle as he sends it down into turn 12. Oh, big bumping and barging from Franz Hermann on the rear of Mallard. And now Mallard without DRS going to lose out to Ollie as well, which I'm sure the stewards may not look too kindly on that move. As Mallard going to try to get back through on Ollie again. Oh, Mallard losing the rear though up the hill. As Ollie now going to try and chase after Franz. But these three have been absolutely beautifully battling. As the racing there was absolutely splendid. Some sight to see now, as Ollie dropping a bit back from Franz Hermann. It seems Mallard has more pace in hand in the Red Bull, but washes out wide the dirty air, wash it across his front wing, and that may invite Ty Clear onto the rear of Mallard here. As Ty now down the inside of Mallard, and Ollie also down the inside of Franz Hermann. Franz with a switchback though, can he get it to stick? Around turn 2, and Franz with a lovely switchback as Ty gets through on Mallard. Who do we even watch here? The battle is so beautiful. As Mallard now back down the inside again, as a big contact between him and Ty. And Mallard through, but he's going to let Ty back through again. Actually going to let through Liam as well. I think Mallard accepting he was in the wrong there, as I think we may have had a mistake there from either Michael Louis or Stephen Beecham there out of turn 2. But the battling was absolutely ferocious here, but Mallard unfortunately should be sitting in a net P7. Now he's down in P11. That has happened in next to no time. Meanwhile, Rio with a 3-second time penalty as he tries to catch Wall Max. Meanwhile, Cookie almost inside DRS range from Seth here. But Mallard had great pace there out in the Red Bull, but unfortunately now has lost out. As Rio now on the rear of Max. Didn't get the best exits out of the final corner. But can he still go for a late send in a turn 1 on the Sauber driver? As he is going to pull out late, and Rio down the inside of the Sauber. And Rio through on the Sauber as Max now going to try get back ahead. As neither driver seems to be using DRS, not quite sure why that is. A bit of desync again from the Sauber here. As Cookie now in behind Seth. Seth still holding on. to P2 here. But Cookie on much fresher tyres. You'd have to say Cookie may have this move. As Liam all over the rear of Ty. And gonna go down the inside. Ty didn't see him coming. And a little bit of contact is, oh, big contact is. Cookie actually gets ahead of Seth through turn 13 is down, or through turn 11 is Liam and Ty side by side out of turn 10. This has invited Mallard onto the rear of this battle as well. As Ty gonna try to get back through on Liam, but not close enough to make the move. As we did see Cookie get up into P2 now, and he's going to chase after Nasev until the end of the race. Does Cookie have the pace to catch Nasev? We'll have to wait and see. As Seth's going to try and hold on to DRS range from Cookie ahead. But still a lot to play for in this race. And you got to remember, the stewards do exist in league racing. And some penalties could be handed out here as Womack's now into the box. As Ollie actually into the box as well. That's the issue with pitting that early. Is a couple of drivers now have had to stop. As Ty Clear now up into P7. Mallard going to try and follow him through on the inside of Liam. And gets ahead. Liam going to look for the switchback, but Mallard covers it off. But can Liam get the exit out of turn 3? As Mallard still has DRS going to look to defend, but doesn't look like Liam close enough to be going for a late send. And Mallard up into P8 now. And there's still a whole lot to play for in this race. But we still don't even know who's going to win this one. As Top Gun and Jimmy Dwyer in for their final pit stops. Top Gun on the medium tyres. Jimmy Dwyer out on mediums. Sluskarn in for mediums. Thory still out in the hard tyres. Thory going to inherit P14 potentially. As Jimmy Dwyer, you're going to see Owen, Top Gun. Oh, almost contact with Thory there. As these two going to battle. As the Greek driver on the outside of Thory. The Dutch driver, and Thory gets through. Alright, Top Gun gets through on Thory there. And the Greek driver now on the rear of Jimmy Dwyer. Meanwhile, Mallard back on the rear. Ty Clear. Do they look to box this lap? Mallard is going to come in. Liam going to stay out. Ty Clear going to stay out. Are they going to try and go to the end here? We will see Michael Louis in for a stop here in McLaren. It's his first race of the season is Michael Louis. And finally, Ollie has a teammate that he can work together with, as Ollie will exit in P12, but gets ahead of Mallard with the undercut. Mallard, though, onto mediums until the end here. We'll see how those mediums get on. Michael Louis also on the medium tyres. And the gap, the undercut from Ollie has been massive. 4 seconds. Can Mallard make up that time? We'll have to wait and see. A reminder, Ollie still carrying that penalty. Meanwhile, Stephen Beecham gone very long on these hard tyres. You would expect to see him in soon for medium tyres. But Stephen's still doing relatively well. If he does pit, he should exit the pit lane in P14 as Womack leaves the session. Struggling with that connection is Top Gun getting ahead of Jimmy Dwyer. But we'll try and get Womack back in again. But it did seem like his connection's been struggling throughout today. So hopefully Womack can get back in the lobby, holding on to P9. But he was having such a good race. Was Womack just exited the box for his final pit stop? He wants to charge after Lewis, Ty and Franz, etc. But now that might be a bit of a struggle. Meanwhile, Cookie now catching the save. The gap's 2.7. Cookie's got 3 laps fresh hard tyres to use. Stephen Beecham now does come in off the hard tyres, and he will exit ahead of Top Gun. And into P12 now, or into P13, sorry, excuse me. And it's not been a bad race from Stephen despite his early drama. He's been able to recover up to P13. and has loads of clear air ahead of him to use to try and catch the cars ahead, but a big field spread we have now. Closest drivers is Liam and Ty Clear. Only drivers inside DRS at the moment is these two. Meanwhile, Cookie continues to catch Nasev as Liam makes another mistake out of turn 10. Trying to find the traction, so tricky at this circuit here in Bahrain. As Cookie continues to hunt down Nasev, but a reminder, big contact between Cookie and Nasev could see either driver potentially get a penalty at the end here, so we'll have to wait and see what the stewards say after the race. Even though Cookie could potentially win on track, or even Nasev, either driver could potentially get that removed if they're found at fault for that incident through turn 2 and 3. Meanwhile, Liam continuing to catch as Ty actually going to come into the box now. That's going to leave Liam free to now push Sluskart on the rear, Jimmy Dwyer. Sluskart looking for his first points in WHF Tier 1. And Jimmy kind of lets him through, doesn't want to battle too hard with Sluskart here. As Ollie now getting through in Womax. Womax has been unable to rejoin. As I'll double check, Womax is not in the lobby. Let's try to send him another invite in case the first one didn't work. But now, as we look at the battle for the lead, Cookie almost inside DRS range. Has he got it? He is right on the cusp. Has he got that DRS? Open, he doesn't. Can Nasev hold on for a lap longer to make Cookie's life difficult here? We will see. Nasev going to keep it ahead of Cookie, but does Nasev soon get DRS from some lap traffic here as well? Cookie still not inside DRS range, and Nasev almost hitting the lap traffic of Thory and Jimmy Dwyer, I believe. As Jimmy seems to have made a mistake, which has allowed Sluskart to really disappear off down the road, as Womax now still not able to get in as Michael Lee picks up a penalty. But Cookie now firmly inside DRS range, but can Nasev get DRS from Thory as well? That could play an interesting factor here as we look on the rear of Cookie. He does have it open. Does Nasev have it open? He doesn't. Thory going to pull out of the way, so that's not helping Nasev at all here, as Thory does get out of the way of both leaders. But can Nasev now get DRS off Jimmy Dwyer? It could be crucial to help him defend from the charging Red Bull in behind, but Jimmy Dwyer going to get out of the way of this battle, so no help from the lap traffic, as Thory now on the rear of Jimmy Dwyer, as Jimmy doesn't realise he's battling Thory for position here, or maybe he does, he just wanted to let him through to battle for position here. Meanwhile, Cookie now has DRS firmly on the rear of Nasev, and 5 laps to go in this race. Who will win it? We will certainly see. But Cookie, as of yet, unable to get ahead of Nasev. But Nasev has 3 laps older tyres. And can Cookie work his way back past, as Liam gets a 10-second speeding in the pit lane penalty, and that's going to really hurt him at the end of this one. Possibly was trying the one stop, but had to end up boxing, but that 10-second now is going to drop him completely out of the battle that he was in, as Cookie now has recharged the battery, and he's now going to try and use it against Nasev now, as Gordon actually back inside DRS range from Seth. These two going to battle again, potentially, for position, as the battle for the podium still will rage on. Cookie now on the rear of Nasev, and Cookie looking for a 3rd consecutive win here in WHF. It's Cookie right on the rear of the Mercedes. And it's looking already like a slam dunk move. Nasev going to go defensive to the inside. But does he have anything to defend against the Red Bull? Is Cookie going to pull to the inside? Nasev going to push him to the inside. A little bit of contact between the Mercedes and the Red Bull. But Cookie going to make this move happen. And does Nasev have any answer for it? As Nasev going to try and get back through up to turn 4. Cookie goes defensive to the inside of turn 4. And Nasev going to pick the outside. As he's going to try and send it around the outside between Cookie and the Red Bull. But Cookie breaks later at turn 4. And gets back ahead. Nasev will have to keep P2 as Mallard gets a time penalty. That's going to hurt him. Mallard has Gordon battling with Seth here in behind as well. As Echo says, I'm back in WHF. Welcome back to WHF. Echo, I'm looking forward to seeing you race this season. As Gordon on the rear of Seth. Nasev on the rear of Cookie. Now, even though Nasev does have 3 laps older hard tyres, this is not done and dusted. Nasev could still get back ahead here as Gordon seems to have made a mistake out of turn 10. Still has DRS though. But Nasev could still get back ahead of Cookie. As Cookie trying to break the toe to pull a gap to the Mercedes driver, but the Mercedes driver's not going away. Nasev, really the only driver to beat Cookie on pace last season. Gordon and Hemi Dimes did pick up victories, but they were both in races where Cookie did not participate. Nasev, the only driver to really win whenever Cookie was on track last season. And Nasev trying to reclaim that title this season. Cookie has 2 wins on the bounce. But could Nasev pull a victory out of the bag here in Bahrain? Currently, he has the disadvantage with tyres, but still is inside DRS range. Anything could happen here in late on in this Bahrain Grand Prix. Hazak in the chat says Cookie for the win. Cookie looking for his 3rd consecutive win to start the season here. As Gordon on the rear of Seth still as they battle over the podium. Gordon got 3 laps better hard tyres than Seth. Seth's gone very long on those hard tyres. And honestly, I think he boxed far too early off those medium tyres. That's really allowed Gordon to close up as Mallard and Ty Clear battling here. As Mallard into the rear of Ty. As Ty now up into P8. And Mallard, who looked to potentially have P7 in the bag, now battling over P8. And struggling here with that time penalty, which might allow Ty Clear back ahead of him. Meanwhile, Nasev almost outside DRS range. Does he still have it? The gap is above a second. And Nasev is out, but dumping the battery surely to get back inside. Here with 3 laps to go in this one. Who will win? Will it be Nasev or Cookie? He'll be on the podium. Will it be Seth or Gordon? The battle over P8 rages on. The battle over P10 rages on. Liam on the fresh softs though, but does have a 10-second time penalty, which could even drop him behind the likes of Stephen Beecham and Womax as well. The Womax disconnected, that will unfortunately cost him in this one. But Nasev's still there, still keeping him keen as Gordon dives down the inside of turn 4. A very opportunistic move. We weren't seeing that coming, and did Seth see it coming as they battle round again. A little bit of bump and a barge into Gordon's round. Gordon's round after contact with Seth, and now Gordon is going to have Rio Harris for company, which I'm sure is not what he wanted to see as Gordon and Seth come together now. Meanwhile, Nasev right on the rear of Cookie. As Ty back again ahead of Mallard. Mallard going to try and get back ahead down into turn 4. The battling throughout this race has been absolutely lightning. Ty Clear around the outside. Going to try and keep it. Mallard loses the rear, bit of wheel banging with him and the Aston Martin driver as he tries to keep it in as Top Gun retires in the pit lane, which is going to hand Jimmy Dwyer a point as Mallard back down the inside of Ty Clear. And I think he's trying to force Ty into a mistake here. Meanwhile, Nasev on the inside takes the lead of the race here on the penultimate lap. Nasev and Cookie still battling as Cookie contact with Nasev, has more contact with Cookie. Cookie cooks the rears and spins into Nasev there Nasev going to get back through again into P1. Major contact between Cookie and Nasev here, as the steward's going to be so busy after this race. Meanwhile, Gordon on the rear of Rio Harris. What battle will this play? As Cookie surely going to try and get back through Nasev. Gordon gonna go to the outside of Rio Harris as Rio Harris goes defensive. Gordon looking for the switchback through turn 4. Side by side they go. Meanwhile, Cookie on the outside of turn 10 as Cookie on the rear, still trying to find a way through Nasev. Gordon trying to get through on Rio Harris. Liam through on Michael Louis. There's battles absolutely everywhere as we're about to head onto the final lap. Does Nasev have enough to defend as Liam gets another penalty? Mallard on the inside of Liam gets on through. Or Mallard on the inside of Ty. I'm jumping over as Cookie now on the inside of Nasev. Oh, they're DRS chicken! DRS chicken on the final lap! Nasev, does he have it? Does Cookie have it? Who has it? Nasev on the rear now of Cookie. Does he have the DRS open? He does! As we head down the main straight in the final lap. Nasev gonna pull to the inside! And on the inside, can the Mercedes get ahead of Cookie as Cookie dives around the outside? Side by side they go and Nasev gets through on Cookie as Cookie trying to force his way back through again as we head out of turn 4 and Cookie with a massive slip of the rear. Oh my god, this race has been absolute cinema. Has Nasev done enough here to win it here in Bahrain? I need a breath. I need a breath. Does Cookie have enough in the tank to catch Nasev here? As Nasev recharging the battery. Gordon on the rear of Rio Harris. Will he go for a late send into turn 4? Goes right on the outside of Rio Harris. Side by side these drivers go, but Rio keeps it ahead. We've got Liam on the rear of Ty Clare as we head down to turn 1. As Ty might even go for a send on Mallard. Goes defensive, unable to get ahead. Meanwhile, Cookie out of turn 11. Can he charge and get ahead in a save as we head up the hill? Through the penultimate corner, Cookie needs to nail his exit. He's not got the best of exits. Back on the throttle again he goes. But is it enough? Cookie charging on the rear of Nasev. But has Nasev done enough here in Bahrain? As we round the final corner, Cookie late on the brakes. But has he got enough in the tank? I don't think he does. And Nasev, on his first race of the season, will win here in Bahrain. What a race! What an absolute race, as Seth now gonna finish P3 surely, unless he's having a puncture or something. He's dropped back a bit, as Seth now may get a podium ahead of Rio Harris. Is Gordon gonna finish in P5? But in the background, Liam battling with Mallard and Ty as well. Side by side they go through the long right-hander. Mallard gets through up into P8. As Ty gonna try and fight his way back through. Liam losing the rear as Ty trying to push to get ahead here. Ty doesn't need to go for this, he'll have it because of penalties anyway. As Liam goes a bit wide, that's opened the door to Ty. Ty gonna try and drag race to the line as Mallard gonna cross line and P8, but Ty gonna beat the Haas at the line and Ty up to P8 as Mallard finishes P9. Michael Louis into P10. Liam into P11. And I'm about to pass out. As Stephen Beecham into P11 actually because of Liam's penalties. As Walmax unfortunately down to P13 with his disconnect. Could have been so much better for Walmax as Sluskard into P14. What a race. What a race. What a race. There was 3 full-on battles until the end there. I didn't know who to watch. Obviously had to keep an eye on the win, and the win goes to the save. Yet again, dethrones Cookie off the top step of the podium. The only driver to do it on F125 in WHF. Unbelievable scenes, unbelievable. As Seth finishes on the podium here for Williams. But what a race there. Nasev wins ahead of Cookie, battling ferociously to the line as fastest lap goes to Cookie. Driver of the day goes to Ty Clear. As we'll try and get all the results in. It was Gordon P4, Rio Harris P5, Franz P6, Ollie P7, Ty Clear P8, Mallard P9, Stephen Beecham P10. As P11 for Stephen Beecham, Liam P12, Walmax P13, Sluskarn P14, Thory P15, Jimmy Dwyer P16, and Top Gun, who retired in the pits, will not be scoring points, but everyone else will be scoring points except for Top Gun. But what absolute cinema. We're going to start the driver interviews with Nasev. Nasev, it's your first race of the season, and you come back with an absolute blinder of a race, and what a win!
Yeah, it was good. Pace was decent. The last hard stint was very good. Wasn't that inconsistent that was on the mediums. Yeah, a good comeback. Good to know that I still have pace. Yeah.
Well, we did see Cookie early on. He started on the soft tires. It became clear that he had committed to that 2-stop. Did you think the 1-stop was the better strategy?
It won't stop all the way. But I respect Cookie for doing the 2-stop. I really do. And he almost made it work. So yeah, I think he deserved to win, but yeah, got lucky, I could say.
Well, what a race and what a win for yourself to save. It's just a shame that you have a job, to be honest, because we would love to see more battles like this throughout the season. But we're happy whenever we get it. What an absolute magic battle. And Nasev, the next driver to win this season. Cookie started the season with 2 wins this season, but Nasev wins here in Bahrain. Congrats to you, Nasev.
Thank you.
As we'll head next on to Seth. Seth, I believe it's your second podium this season, if I'm not mistaken. How'd that race go for you, Seth?
To be honest, even though I managed to get to retain P3, it wasn't a good race. I don't know. I had no practice going in. Qualifying was actually not too bad. I felt like I did okay in qualifying. I was aiming for a top 5 anyway, so I was happy with P3. But I thought that I would box early, but I found out I was way too early, and I believe my rear left was on like 89% on the final lap.
Oof.
So I was really struggling with tyre wear, and I tried to keep up with the 2 guys, Nasev and Cookie, but to be honest, they were on a race of their own. So I need to look back and see what I could have done better there.
But nonetheless, we've seen you battling with Gordon and even Rio Harris at the end almost caught you. How sweating were you at the end there whenever you were dealing with that tyre wear and you did see them closing in at a rapid rate?
Yeah, it was pretty stressful. It was actually handy when Nasev and Cookie passed me, because I was able to stick in Nasev's DRS for 2 laps and Cookie a lap. And to be honest, I think those DRS, the usage of those DRS for those 2.5, 3 laps, whatever it might have been in the end, I think was the reason that I was able to retain P3, because I gained, I think, about 5/10 on lap 20 or so to Gordon, and I think that was the reason why I was able to retain. But yeah, it was a good battle. There was an incident between myself and Gordon. I need to look back on that and see what happened there. I'm not too sure. But it was stressful. I'm sweating buckets now. It's actually very hot in my room, so I need to get the fans out.
Yeah, it was definitely a very sweaty race. A lot of drama, a lot of contact, but congrats to you, Seth, on the podium.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to Rio, who almost had P4 in the bag, but that penalty would ultimately cost him after battling ferociously with Gordon throughout the race. Rio, how'd that race go for you?
I don't know what to think. There were stages where I felt I had pace, and the stages where I didn't. There is a potential podium if Seth and Gordon get pens. I think I can get gold in the penalty because I got molested off the road at turn 2. And then, I mean, the start was good. I led for like 5 seconds, so that was good at least. I mean, I'm just bloody George Russell, the consistent top 5, so it's whatever. It's disheartening to find no pace.
Well, I would not be as disheartened as you are because you're still dealing with no line and getting used to that. So you're still doing very well despite learning no line. And even if it is just P5, still a very good result for yourself, Rio.
Yeah, I mean, at least Nisev won, so it's good. I say good, that's very good points for the constructors, at least.
But thank you for that, Rio. And we'll head on to Thori. Thori had a very struggle race. How'd that race go for you? If you're there.
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, he's dead. Well.
GG's.
Anyway.
I'm back.
All right.
I'm here. yeah, I'm online.
Thori, how'd that race go for you?
Yeah, I was covered in collision on the first lap with Liam. I hit at the back, I think. And then Copemaster decided not fixing my front wing with the first stint. So I pit like 3 times. So it was very fun at the back.
Yeah, well, unfortunate, Thori, but I will say you will be getting a full-time seat in Tier 1, so at least you have that to look forward to for next round. But an unfortunate race, but hopefully when we bounce back where is Tier 1 heading to next?
Jeddah.
Oh,
Jeddah.
I'm so glad I'm not having to drive there.
I'm loving Jeddah, so I hope I get better.
Well, looking forward to it. Thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, this has been WHF Tier 1. Nasev, the first driver to dethrone Cookie this season. Just a shame Nasev unable to race longer here in WHF. But what we will do is we're going to raid Cloud on our way out. Cloud, a former WHF driver who did push Cookie all the way to the final race of the season back in WHF season 1, was it? Or it might have been 2. Yeah, it was WHF season 2. Also Supply Raptor, a former driver, and AMS Estimba, for those of you who know, is in the race along with Cloud. And also Cookie, who just raced, is also racing in this race as well, MRL round 7. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed, please drop a follow. This has been WHF, and make sure to give Cloud a follow on your way over. But thank you all for watching. I've been WHF Farrell, and we'll see you all next week.